The crystal towers of Zephyr Prime shook as another explosion lit up the sky. Elder Keth Ara pressed her webbed hands against the smooth walls of the council chamber and felt the vibrations run through her body. The Vex ships hung in the sky, like dark clouds, raining fire down on everything her people had built over thousands of years. "How many cities have fallen?" she asked, though she already knew the answer would break her heart. 17 in the last day, replied Silandra, her young assistant. The girl's blue skin had turned pale with fear. The northern continent is completely dark. No signals coming from there at all. Kethara closed her large eyes and tried to think. Her people had never faced anything like this. The Zephyrians had lived in peace for so long that they had forgotten war was even possible. They had advanced science, beautiful art, and technology that could heal planets. But they had no weapons. They had no soldiers. They had no idea how to fight back. The Vex had arrived 3 days ago without warning. Their ships just appeared in the sky and started shooting. When the Zephyrian Council tried to talk to them, to ask what they wanted, the Vex commander had laughed. He said the Zephyrians were weak and their planet would make a good base for the Vex Empire. They are landing more troops near the southern cities, Silandra reported, reading from her communication device. The defense shields are failing everywhere. Our people are just running and hiding. Kethara felt anger rise in her chest, but it was a weak feeling. Her people were not built for anger. They were not built for fighting. Evolution had made them peaceful and gentle. Their planet had no dangerous animals, no natural disasters, nothing that would teach them to be warriors. Elder, what do we do? Silandra asked. The Vex will be here soon. They are destroying everything in their path. The old leader looked out the window at the burning sky. Somewhere in the darkness, millions of her people were dying. Children who would never grow up. Artists who would never create again. Scientists whose discoveries would be lost forever. All because they could not defend themselves. Send the signal, she said quietly. What signal, Elder? The emergency broadcast. Send it to every star system we know about. Ask for help. Silandra's eyes went wide. But Elder, we have never asked other species for help with war. We do not even know if anyone out there fights wars. Then we will find out, Kethara said. Our people are dying. If there is any species in this galaxy that knows how to fight, we need them now. The young assistant ran to the communication center. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls as she set up the most powerful signal their planet could send. The message would reach hundreds of star systems, calling out into space like a cry for help. Far away, in a different part of the galaxy, Captain Jake Morrison was drinking coffee on the bridge of his ship. The UES Ranger was a human exploration vessel sent out to map new star systems and make contact with alien species. It was not a warship, but like all human ships, it carried weapons just in case. Captain, we are getting a strange signal, said Lisa Hayes from her position at the communication station. It is very strong and coming from the Zephyr system. What kind of signal? Morrison asked, setting down his cup. It sounds like a distress call, but it is in a language I've never heard before. Ryan Parker, the ship's engineer, looked up. From his work, the computer is trying to translate it now. Give it a minute. The bridge fell quiet as they waited. Morrison had been in space for 15 years and had heard many distress calls. Most were simple problems like engine failures or asteroid impacts, but something about this signal felt different. It felt desperate. Translation complete, the computer announced. Beginning playback. A voice filled the bridge, speaking in clear English thanks to the translation system. But the words made everyone stop what they were doing. This is Elder Kethara of the Zephyrian people. Our world is under attack by a species called the Vex. They are killing our people and destroying our cities. We have no weapons. We have no armies. We do not know how to fight. If there is anyone out there who can help us, Please come. We are dying. Our children are dying. We have tried to surrender, but they will not stop. Please, if you can hear this, help us. The message repeated several times before ending. The bridge stayed quiet for a long moment. How far is the Zephyr system? Morrison asked. About 6 hours at full speed, Lisa replied. Any other human ships in that area? No, sir. We are the closest. Morrison stood up and walked to the main viewing screen. Space looked calm and peaceful from here, but somewhere out there, people were dying while their planet burned. Sir, said Amy Collins, the ship's doctor, we do not know anything about these Zephyrians or this Vex species. It could be dangerous. It could be, Morrison agreed. But did you hear that message? They are being slaughtered, and they cannot fight back. What are your orders, Captain? Lisa asked. Morrison was quiet for a moment, thinking. The Ranger only had a crew of 40 people. It was not built for war. But he had heard the fear in that alien voice, and he could not ignore it. Set course. For the Zephyr system, full speed, he said. And send a reply to that signal. Tell them help is coming. What should we tell them about us, sir? Lisa asked. Morrison smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Tell them we are humans from Earth. Tell them we know how to fight. The U's Ranger dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Zephyr system. What Captain Morrison saw through the main screen made his jaw tighten with anger. The beautiful blue planet was covered in smoke and fire. Pieces of broken space stations floated like dead metal in orbit. Vex warships moved slowly around the planet like hungry sharks. My God, whispered Amy Collins. Look what they have done to this place. Lisa Hayes was already scanning the area with her sensors. I count 12 Vex ships, Captain. Most of them are focused on bombing the planet's surface. There are also hundreds of smaller ships dropping troops. What about the Zephyrians? Morrison asked. I am picking up some signals from the planet, but they are very weak. Most of their cities have gone dark. Ryan Parker studied his engineering. Displays. The Vex ships are big, Captain. Much bigger than us, but their design looks old. I think they rely on heavy armor instead of speed, Morrison nodded. Open a channel to the Vex fleet. Let me talk to whoever is in command. Lisa worked at her controls for a moment. Channel open, sir. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the human ship U's Ranger, Morrison said in a clear, strong voice. I am ordering you to stop your attack on the Zephian people and leave this system immediately. The response came quickly. A harsh reptilian voice filled the bridge, speaking in broken English. Human? I am Commander Vrath of the Vex Dominion. I have never heard of your species. You have one small ship against my entire fleet. Leave now before I destroy you. I am giving you one chance to withdraw peacefully, Morrison replied. The Zephyrians are under human protection now. Vrek laughed, a sound like grinding metal. Protection? You think one tiny ship can protect an entire planet? I have conquered 20 worlds, human. Your people will be next after I finish with these weak fish. Then you have made a mistake, Morrison said calmly. You should have studied humans before threatening us. I do not need to study prey, Vrectus snarled. Destroy that ship. The channel closed. Morrison turned to his crew. Well, we tried diplomacy. Now we do this the hard way. 3 Vex cruisers turned away from the planet and moved toward the human ship. Each one was 5 times larger than the Ranger, their dark hulls covered in weapon ports and armor plating. They are targeting us, Lisa reported. Multiple weapons locks. Evasive maneuvers, Morrison ordered. Ryan, give me everything the engines have got. The Ranger suddenly accelerated and twisted to the side just as the Vex ships opened fire. Bright energy beams cut through the space where the human ship had been a second before. Return fire, Morrison said. Target their weapon systems. The Ranger's guns spoke back. sending focused energy blasts at the lead Vex cruiser. The shots hit hard, making the big ship shake and spark. But the thick armor absorbed most of the damage. "Our weapons are not strong enough to get through their armor," Lisa reported. "Then we get closer," Morrison said. "Ryan, plot a course right." "At them, sir. That is suicide," Amy said. "They will blast us apart." "No, they will not," Morrison replied with a grin. "They are too big and slow. Watch." The Ranger dove straight at the lead Vex cruiser like a diving hawk. The alien ship fired everything it had, but the small human vessel was too fast and too agile. It twisted and spun between the energy beams, getting closer every second at the last moment. The Ranger pulled up and flew along the length of the Vex ship, its guns firing continuously at close range. The armor that had protected the cruiser from long-distance shots could not stop the concentrated fire from just a few meters away. "Direct hits on their main weapon systems," Lisa reported with excitement. "They are venting atmosphere." But the other two Vex ships were closing in fast. Morrison spun the Ranger around and faced them head-on. "Captain, we cannot fight two of them at once," Ryan said. "We are not going to fight them," Morrison replied. "We are going to capture one." Before anyone could ask what he meant, Morrison pushed the engines to maximum power and aimed straight at the smaller of the two Vex ships. This time, instead of pulling away at the last second, he kept going. "Brace for impact," he shouted. The Ranger slammed into the side of the Vex cruiser with tremendous force. The human ship's reinforced hull, designed to handle asteroid impacts, punched right through the alien vessel's armor. Both ships shook and groaned as they locked together. "Boarding." "Parties, prepare to go," Morrison ordered. "We are taking this ship." Down on the planet's surface, Elder Kethara and Salandra watched the battle through their observation equipment. The young assistant could barely believe what she was seeing. "Elder, that small ship just attacked 3 large ones," she said. "The humans are either very brave or completely insane." "Perhaps both," Kethara replied. "But look, they are winning." The Vex had never encountered anything like human tactics before. Their battles were usually simple affairs of big ships shooting at each other until one side gave up. But the humans fought like they were dancing, spinning and diving, and striking where the enemy was weakest. "The human ship has attached itself to the Vex cruiser," Salandra reported. "I think they are trying to board it." "Board it?" Kethara was confused. "You mean go inside the enemy ship?" "That is what it looks like." On the Ranger's bridge, Morrison was coordinating the boarding action. "Sergeant Collins, what is your status?" The voice of Pete Collins, the ship's head of security, came through the communication system. "We have breached their hull, Captain. Meeting heavy resistance, but these lizards do not know how to fight in close quarters." "Understood. Take the bridge and engineering. We need that ship operational." As the boarding action continued, the remaining Vex ships pulled back, unsure of what to do. They could not fire on the captured cruiser without destroying their own people. "Commander," Vrek's voice came over the radio again, but this time he sounded worried instead of confident. "What kind of species are you?" "Normal civilized beings." "Do not board enemy ships," Morrison smiled as he replied. "We are humans, Commander. We come from a world where everything tries to kill us from the moment we are born. We learn to fight back. Impossible. No species could survive on such a world." "Then you have a lot to learn about humans," Morrison said. "And you are about to get a very thorough education." News of the human attack spread through both Vex and Zephyrian communication networks like wildfire. On the captured Vex cruiser, Sergeant Pete Collins walked through the corridors with his security team, amazed at how easily they had taken control of the ship. "These lizards are big and strong," he told Captain Morrison over the radio, "but they fight like they are scared of getting hurt. When we charged them, most of them just ran away." Morrison was studying the captured ship's computers. With Ryan Parker. The Vex had left everything unlocked when they fled to other parts of the ship. What did you find out about their fleet? They have got 30 more ships coming, Captain, Ryan reported. Big ones too. This was just the advance force. 30 ships, Morrison repeated. We need backup from Earth. Lisa Hayes looked up from her station. I sent the message, but the nearest human fleet is 3 weeks away. We are on our own until then. Down on the planet, Elder Keth Ara was meeting with the surviving city leaders through emergency communications. The news from space had given them hope for the first time in days. The humans captured a Vex ship, she told the council. In less than 1 hour, they did what we thought was impossible. But Elder, said one of the leaders, there are more Vex ships coming. Can one human ship really protect our entire world? I do not know, Cathara replied honestly. But they are trying. The least we can do is learn from them. Salandra was reading reports from the northern continent. Elder, the humans are asking to land some of their people on the planet. They want to teach our people how to defend themselves. The idea was shocking to most Zephyrians. Their people had never learned to fight. They had never even thought about it. But with their cities burning and their people dying, they were willing to try anything. Tell them yes, Cathara decided. Send them to the underground shelters near the capital city. An hour later, a small human shuttle landed near the largest Zephyrian shelter. Sergeant Collins stepped out with 5 other humans, all carrying weapons and equipment that made the watching Zephyrians nervous. I am Sergeant Pete Collins, he said to the group of Zephyrians who had gathered to meet them. Captain Morrison sent me to teach you how to defend your homes. Elder Keth Ara approached him carefully. Up close, the human looked dangerous in a way she had never seen before. His eyes moved constantly, watching everything around him. His body was tense like he was ready to fight at any moment. Sergeant Collins, we appreciate your help, she said. But you must understand, our people have never fought before. We do not even have words for some of the things you do. Collins nodded. That is okay, Elder. We will start with the basics. He turned to address the crowd of Zephyrians. The first thing you need to know is that fighting is not about being mean or cruel. It is about protecting the people you care about. When someone tries to hurt your family, you have the right to stop them. A young Zephyrian raised her hand. But Sergeant, our bodies are not built for fighting. We are not strong like you. Collins smiled. You do not need to be strong to be dangerous. Let me show you something. He picked up a simple metal tool from a nearby workstation. What is this? It is a repair tool, the young Zephyrian replied. We use it to fix broken equipment. Right, Collins said. But look at it differently. It is also a weapon. Anything can be a weapon if you know how to use it. The Zephyrians looked confused and scared. The idea of turning their peaceful tools into weapons was hard for them to understand. Dr. Amy Collins, who had come down with the shuttle, was examining injured Zephyrians in another part of the shelter. What she found surprised her. Pete, she called to her husband over their radio. You need to know something about these people. Their brain chemistry is completely different from ours. They literally cannot feel anger the way we do. What do? You mean? Pete asked. They do not have the chemicals in their brains that make humans aggressive. That is why they never developed warfare. They are physically unable to want to hurt others. This information made Pete rethink his approach. He could not teach these people to fight like humans because they were not built for it. But maybe he could find another way. Elder Kethera, he said, your people cannot fight like humans do. But that does not mean you cannot defend yourselves. What do your people love most? Our children, she replied immediately. Our families, our beautiful cities. Then think about protecting them, not hurting the enemy, Pete suggested. Show me your city's defense systems. The Zephyrians led him to their control center, where massive computers managed everything from the power grid to the water systems. Pete looked at the setup and started to smile. "This is perfect," he said. "You do not need to fight the Vex with weapons. You can fight them with your technology." Meanwhile, up in space, Captain Morrison was getting reports from his scouts. "Captain, the main Vex fleet has arrived," Lisa reported. 30 ships just dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Morrison looked at the tactical display. 30 large warships against his one exploration vessel and a captured cruiser they barely knew how to operate. The odds were impossible. "Captain," came Commander Vrake's voice over the radio, "you fought well, but this is over. Surrender now, and I will make your deaths quick." "Commander," Morrison replied calmly, "you still do not understand what you are dealing with. Humans do not surrender. We get creative." "Creative? What does that mean?" Morrison looked at his crew. Ryan was already working on some kind of plan at his engineering station. Lisa was coordinating with the teams on the planet. Amy was helping the Zephyrians understand human tactics. "It means you picked the wrong species to threaten," Morrison said. "And you are about to find out why we survived on a world that tried to kill us every single day." The Vex fleet began moving toward the planet, confident that their overwhelming numbers would end this quickly. But they had no idea that humans had been fighting impossible odds their entire history. And they were very good at it. The 30 Vex warships moved toward Zephyr Prime like a wall of death. Each ship was massive, armed with enough weapons to destroy a city in minutes. Commander Vrath stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the small human vessel that had caused him so much trouble. "One ship," he said to his officers. "One tiny ship has made us look like fools. When this is over, I will study these humans and learn how to conquer their homeworld too." But Captain Morrison was not planning to make it easy for them. On the bridge of the Ranger, he looked at his tactical display and smiled. The Vex were approaching exactly as he had hoped they would. "Ryan, are the asteroid mines ready?" he asked. "Yes, sir," Ryan Parker replied from his engineering station. The Zephyrians had mining operations all through this asteroid belt. "I have turned 20 of those mining charges into space mines. The Vex will not see them coming." "Lisa, what about our friends on the planet?" "Sergeant Collins has the Zephyrians ready, Captain. They still do not like the plan, but they understand it is necessary." Morrison nodded. The plan was risky and would probably get them all killed, but it was better than giving up. "Amy, how are our new allies doing?" Dr. Amy Collins was coordinating with the Zephyrians from the ship's medical bay. "They are scared, Captain, but they are determined to protect their homes. Elder Kethara says her people are ready to help however they can." The Vex fleet was getting closer. Morrison could see them on the main screen now, 30 dark shapes, moving through space like hunters closing in on their prey. "This is Commander Vrath," came the reptilian voice over the radio. "Human Captain, this is your last chance. Surrender, and I will only kill you quickly. Keep fighting, and I will make sure your entire species suffers." Morrison activated the communication system. "Commander, I told you before that you do not understand humans. Let me teach you something about us. We do not know how to give up. Then you will die for nothing." "Maybe," Morrison replied. "But we will not die alone." The battle began when the lead Vex ships entered the asteroid field. Ryan had hidden the converted mining charges inside normal-looking rocks, and the Vex scanners could not tell the difference. When the first ship passed close to a rig asteroid, Ryan pressed a button. The explosion was tremendous. The mining charge had been designed to break apart entire asteroids, and it tore through the Vex ship's armor like paper. The warship broke in half and went spinning away into space. "What was that?" Vrek shouted over the radio. "That was a mining charge," Morrison replied calmly. "The Zephyrians use them to break up asteroids for valuable metals. We just found a new use for them." The Vex fleet slowed down and began scanning the asteroids more carefully. But Ryan had prepared for this too. While they were distracted, he activated the second part of his plan. Firing the mass driver, he announced. The Zephyrians had built a massive device to launch cargo containers into orbit. Ryan had modified it to launch chunks of metal at incredible speed. The projectiles were not guided missiles, but they were. Moving so fast that they hit like bombs. 3 more Vex ships took heavy damage as metal chunks slammed into their hulls. The aliens had never seen anything like this kind of warfare before. They are using civilian equipment as weapons, one of Vrakth's officers reported in confusion. Impossible, Vraktich snarled. No civilized species fights this way. We are not civilized, Morrison said over the radio. We are survivors. Down on the planet, Sergeant Collins was coordinating with Elder Cathara and the Zephyrian technicians. The peaceful aliens had learned to use their own technology in ways they had never imagined. The power grid is ready, Cathara reported. But I still do not understand how this will help. Trust me, Collins said. When I give the signal, redirect all power from the northern cities to the planetary defense grid. But that will leave millions of our people without power. It will also give us enough energy to do something the Vex will never expect. In space, the battle was getting desperate. The Vex had figured out how to avoid the asteroid traps and were advancing on the planet again. Morrison had used up most of his tricks, and the enemy still had 25 ships left. Captain, they are targeting the planet's surface, Lisa reported. They are going to start bombing the cities again. Not if I can help it, Morrison replied. He turned to his communications officer. Contact Sergeant Collins. Tell him it is time, on the planet. Collins received the message. Elder now, he shouted. Cathara pressed a series of buttons on her control panel. All across the northern continent, lights went out as power was redirected to the planetary defense system. But instead of using the energy for shields, the Zephyrians did something completely different. Every communication dish, every radio tower, every transmitter on the planet suddenly focused on the Vex fleet and broadcast at maximum power. The combined signal was so strong it overloaded the aliens' electronics. What is happening? Vrakth screamed as his ship's systems began failing. My computers are going crazy. The Zephyrians just turned their entire planet into a giant radio transmitter. Morrison explained. They are jamming every electronic system you have. Blind and confused, the Vex ships began crashing into each other. Some tried to retreat, but flew into asteroids because their navigation systems had failed. Others fired their weapons randomly. Hitting their own allies, Morrison saw his chance. Full power to engines. We are going after their command ship. The Ranger accelerated toward Vrakth's flagship. The big Vex ship was helpless, its weapon systems offline and its crew panicking. Prepare for boarding, Morrison ordered. We are going to capture their commander. Captain, that ship has thousands of Vex warriors on it, Amy warned. Then it is a good thing we brought friends, Morrison replied, through the ship's communications. System came the voice of Elder Cathara. Captain Morrison, we may not be able to fight like humans, but we can help in other ways. We have taken control of several Vex ships using our computer systems. Their security is no match for our technology. Morrison grinned as he watched Zephyrian technicians, working from their underground shelters, hack into Vex ship computers and turn the aliens' own weapons against them. Commander Vrakth, Morrison said over the radio, I think it is time for you to surrender. The only response was the sound of explosions as the Vex fleet tore itself apart. The silence in space was almost peaceful after hours of explosions and gunfire. 23 Vex ships floated dead in the asteroid field, their hulls broken and their crews either captured or fled. Commander Vrakth sat in a holding cell on his own flagship, now under human control. Staring at the walls in disbelief, Captain Morrison walked into the cell and sat down across from the defeated Vex commander. The reptilian alien looked up at him with yellow eyes full of confusion and fear. "How?" Vrake asked simply. "How did one ship defeat my entire fleet?" Morrison leaned back in his chair. "You made the same mistake everyone makes when they first meet humans. You thought we were like other species. Explain." "Most species in the galaxy evolved on safe worlds," Morrison said. "Worlds with gentle weather, friendly animals, and plenty of food. They became smart and peaceful. But humans come from a world that tried to kill us every single day." Vrake's eyes narrowed. "That is impossible. No species could survive such conditions." "We did not just survive," Morrison replied with a small smile. "We became the most dangerous predators on our planet. Then we learned to work together. Do you know what happens when the galaxy's most dangerous hunters decide to protect something?" The Vex commander said nothing, but Morrison could see understanding beginning to dawn in his alien features. "You get what just happened to you," Morrison continued. "We do not fight fair. We do not follow rules. We use everything around us as a weapon, and we never, ever give up." A communication device on Morrison's belt buzzed. "Captain," came Lisa's voice, "we are getting messages from the Vex. High Command. They want to talk." Morrison stood up. "Well, Commander, it looks like your bosses want to negotiate. I hope they are smarter than you were." On the bridge of the Ranger, Morrison found his crew coordinating with the Zephyrians to restore order to the system. The peaceful aliens were amazed by their own victory. "Captain," Lisa reported, "the Vex High Command is offering a complete withdrawal from Zephyrian space. They are also offering to pay compensation for the damage they caused." "That is a start," Morrison said, "but not enough. Put me through to their leader." The main screen flickered and showed a massive Vex general sitting on what looked like a throne made of metal and bones. When he spoke, his voice was deep and threatening. "I am General Corax, Supreme Commander of the Vex Dominion. You have humiliated one of my fleets, human. This insult will not be forgotten." Morrison stared back at the alien general without blinking. "General, let me make something very clear. This was not an insult. This was a lesson. If you attack peaceful species again, we will teach you more lessons. You think your one ship can threaten the entire Vex Dominion?" "My one ship just destroyed 30 of your warships," Morrison replied. "But more importantly, I represent the human species. We have thousands of ships and billions of people. All of them learn to fight on a world that makes your worst nightmares look like a pleasant vacation." General Corax leaned forward on his throne. "What do you want, human?" "Simple. You will leave the Zephyrians alone forever. You will also leave alone any other peaceful species in this part of the galaxy. If we hear about you attacking defenseless people again, we will come for you. And if we refuse?" Morrison's smile was cold and dangerous. "Then you will find out why the rest of the galaxy calls our planet a death world." The Vex general stared at Morrison for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Very well. The Vex Dominion will honor these terms. But mark my words, human, we will remember this day." "Good," Morrison replied. "Make sure you tell the story to anyone else who thinks about picking on peaceful species." The communication ended. On the planet below, celebrations had begun in every surviving city. The Zephyrians were singing traditional songs of joy, but now the words had new meaning. For the first time in their history, they had defended themselves successfully. Elder Cathera stood in the main council chamber, looking out at her people through the building's crystal windows. Silandra approached her with a communication device. "Elder, we are receiving messages from all over the galaxy," the young assistant reported. "Other peaceful species heard about what happened here. They want to know if the humans would help them too." Cathara nodded thoughtfully. "And what did Captain Morrison say?" "He said humans do not like bullies, no matter where they find them. Dr. Amy Collins was in the medical center, treating the last of the wounded Zephyrians. One of her patients, a young engineer named Pelthara, asked her a question that had been troubling many of the aliens. "Doctor, will humans teach us to become warriors like you?" Amy paused in her work. "No, Pelthara. We will not teach you to become like us. Your people are good the way you are. But we can teach you to defend that goodness." "I do not understand." "The difference. We fight because we have to," Amy explained. "You learned to fight because you needed to protect your families. That is very different from fighting because you enjoy it." 3 weeks later, the first human defense fleet arrived. In the Zephyr system, Admiral Sarah Thompson met with Captain Morrison and Elder Kethara to discuss the future. "The human government has approved a formal alliance," Admiral Thompson announced. "We will provide military protection for Zephyrian space. In return, your people will share their advanced technology and scientific knowledge with us." Elder Kethara accepted gladly. "Our people have also decided to create a new department in our government. We are calling it the Department of Necessary Violence. Salandra will lead it with training from Sergeant Collins." Morrison was surprised. "I thought your people could not handle aggressive thoughts." "We cannot," Kethara agreed. "But we can handle protective thoughts. There is a difference." As the meeting ended, Morrison received an urgent message from Earth. He read it quickly, then looked up at Admiral Thompson. "Admiral, we are getting a distress call from the Altair system. Species called the Gentle Ones is being attacked by something called the Iron Brotherhood." Admiral Thompson sighed. "How far away is Altair?" 2 days at maximum speed." "Well," the Admiral said, "I guess word is getting around that humans answer distress calls." Morrison grinned. "Should I tell them help is coming?" "Tell them, Admiral." Thompson replied, "that the Deathworlders are on their way." In the months that followed, the story of the Battle of Zephyr Prime spread throughout the galaxy. Peaceful species learned that they were not helpless. Aggressive species learned that there were consequences for attacking the defenseless. And somewhere in the darkness between the stars, other species began to whisper about the humans, the strange creatures from the Deathworld who fought not for conquest, but for protection. The galaxy was becoming a safer place, one answered distress. "Call at a time,"